there's a really interesting case about a Venezuelan chocolate company. This is a company called Chocolates El Rey. Venezuela, this is something that a lot of people don't realize. Venezuela produces the world's finest cacao. That's the raw material that goes into finished chocolate. When you ask most people, where does the best chocolate come from? They usually name Switzerland, or they'll say perhaps Belgium. The reason they think that is because those are countries that brand high-quality chocolate. So when you say Belgium, you're thinking about perhaps a brand like Godiva. When you say Switzerland, you're thinking perhaps of a brand like Lindt. But it turns out that the raw material, cacao, chocolate, only grows in the tropics. So not only do people not know where really good chocolate comes from, the companies like Chocolates El Rey that produce this chocolate can't get themselves well known, which means they can't command a good price for their product.
Does it also affect perceptions of the product? I would tend to think that if the chocolate is really good, that the market would decide that it doesn't matter where it's from, but it does seem to matter. And I'm thinking here, you mentioned a wine from Chile, for example.
That's a classic example, I think, that a lot of people actually, in this case, they know that the product is good, but they're just not willing to pay a high price for it. One of the largest wine producers from Chile is a company called Concha y Toro. They have a Cabernet Sauvignon called Don Melchor, which is one of the very, very best wines that Chile produces. This is a wine that has been rated by independent ratings agencies like Wine Spectator as being something in the high 90s on a scale of 100. When you get a score in the high 90s, that's usually the province of perhaps a French Bordeaux that might retail at $300 to $400 a bottle. The folks at this Chilean company cannot command a price over $49 or $50 at retail for their Don Melchor, and there's a reason for it. The distributor of the wine says, I can't get anybody in my store who's willing to pay more than $50 for a bottle of Chilean wine. Why? Because it's Chilean wine. Although I know it's a superb wine, and I can in fact post the ratings of Wine Spectator, when people see that it's made in Chile, they're just unwilling to pay $100, $200, $300 for a bottle of wine.
I want to bring back one more example from Mexico, which is Corona beer.
Corona is a wonderful example of a company that has figured out a very creative solution. In Mexico, it's the #1 selling brand of beer. It's a popular price brand of beer. It's the Budweiser of Mexico. When they decided to market their product north of the border in the United States, they had a decision to make. They could either sell the product the same way that they sold it in Mexico, which is an inexpensive product for everybody, or they could change the product in some way or reposition it. They chose the latter strategy. Instead of marketing the product as made in Mexico, it's positioned as a lifestyle product. Actually, the creative execution for Corona beer is not Mexican beer. It's fun, sun, beach, and vacation in a bottle. So that beach could be anywhere in the world. It could be a beach in the French Riviera, it could be a beach in Bali, or it could be Cancun. This is just brilliant positioning. People buy that beer because they think of it as a fun beer, and it's a sun beer, and it's a vacation beer, and it makes them feel good, not because it's from Mexico. They, in the process of doing this positioning, price it as a premium beer and not an inexpensive beer from Mexico.
Which they did at the beginning, correct, when they first started to try to export it.
And they very quickly realized that we're not going to make any money doing this. And now they price at the same price point that Heineken prices their beer within the United States. Interestingly enough, Corona has overtaken Heineken to become the #1 imported beer brand within the United States. Heineken held that position for over 50 years since Prohibition, and in a very short time, Corona overtook them. I think largely because of rethinking how they want to be positioned.
Rohit, thank you very much for joining us.
You're very welcome.
His name is Rohit Deshpande. He's the Sebastian Kresge Professor of Marketing at the Harvard Business School.